Let's now see how we can handle exceptions in BPMN by considering an extension of our purchase order handling process. So we saw that the purchase handling process starts upon the receipt of a purchase order, upon which we register the purchase order, check the availability, send the response, and so the purchase order has been fulfilled. But now let's consider this specific extension to our scenario. While we handle the purchase order, we may receive a purchase order request, and this may be received at any time after the purchase order has been registered. This request includes a change in quantity or line items, and when such a request is received, any processing related to the purchase order must be stopped. So the purchase order change request is then registered, after which the process proceeds as it would do so after a normal purchase order is registered. Further, if the customer sends a purchase order cancellation request after the registration, the purchase order processing must be stopped and the cancellation request must be handled. So we see that this process can actually be subject to two exceptions, both triggered by the customer: a purchase order change request or a purchase order cancellation request. And they can both occur after the purchase order has been registered. We want to identify the set of activities that would need to be stopped in case any of these exceptions occurs. In this case would be all activities after registered purchase order. So let's encapsulate them into an expanded sub-process, which indeed we could even collapse to hide the inner workings. And then we attach two intermediate catching message events. One is purchase order change received, in which case the exception flow is nothing else than made up of registered purchase order change, and then we go back into the sub-process for handling purchase orders. So for the second exception, the purchase order cancellation, the intermediate catching message event leads to a sub-process handle purchase order cancellation, upon completion of which we have to terminate the process with a purchase order cancel to notify the reader that this is actually a negative outcome, and the whole handling of the purchase order will be stopped. There's no more work to be done in case of a cancellation.